Hello, welcome to Gourmet, the channel where I cook my way through all the cookbooks I own and have never used. I'm sure you saw it in my glasses reflection. I got a ring light for Christmas. We're trying it out. I got to get better at it. Also, not that it's easy to show from here, but we have a gourmet apron. So that's pretty fun. I figure it's the perfect way to start out a new cookbook, break out the new equipment. So let's get started. We are cooking with delicious Disney. We'll be making a maple glazed salmon with onion mashed potatoes. I'm pretty excited. This one's from the Animator's Palate on the Disney Cruise Line. It's kind of the fun thing with these cookbooks is you get like recipes from the whole company, like all the resorts and stuff. So it should be interesting to try. But I'm making this one for dinner. I'm going to say right now, so you can see in the picture that there's greens. I think they're probably green beans, but I'm not making green beans. I'm going to make asparagus with this instead. Not that that's in the recipe. It's just how they plated it, but whatever. So yeah, I guess after all of that, this is the longest intro ever, but let's get started. I'm going to start off with the maple glaze for the salmon. We need a quarter cup of brandy. So this is the brandy I'm using. It's just what was recommended to me at the liquor store. I don't know anything about brandy, so this could really mean anything. But we're going to go ahead and pour this a quarter cup. And we're going to go ahead and pour this in here. You can see new year, new measuring cups. I probably need a new size of this pot too, but I just replaced a whole bunch of things and that was not on the list. And now it says to flambe this for 5 seconds. But what I'm going to do first, actually, now that I think about it, is measure out our maple syrup. This is our syrup. It's just a Vermont maple syrup. That's what the grocery store had. I don't know. But we need 1 1/4 cups of this. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out a cup. Ooh. We might not actually have enough maple syrup. See how much this gets us. Okay, so 8 ounces of maple syrup was not enough. But that's okay. If it's a little under, it's a little under. I don't use maple syrup that often. I'm going to go ahead and get, because we're supposed to flambe this. Somewhere in this house, I have a lighter. Not that I've ever flambéed. That was definitely on fire. That's it. Now we're cooking with gas. I don't think you can see it, but I can. Now I'm going to go ahead, blow it out. Uh-oh. Now we're just on fire. I don't know how to stop that. Now we've got our maple syrup in there. I don't want to whisk it. I've just got this on fire. Oh, good. Okay, that stopped. Okay. Oh, that one got me. I don't think I haven't flambéed anything in a very long time. And that, let's just say, that went a little differently than expected. But we got there. It definitely flambéed. So we've got our maple syrup in here, and we're just going to heat this for a little bit. We're just trying to get the maple syrup kind of hot. I don't know. I think it's pretty hot. It was on fire. And then to the side, what we have here, this is 2 tablespoons of water and a tablespoon of cornstarch. I used arrowroot powder because I couldn't find my cornstarch. I'm going to go ahead, give this another little whisk, and then we're going to add this in here, and we're going to whisk, and this is going to be our glaze, and we are going to simmer this for 5 minutes, and then it's going to cool to room temperature. So we finished our maple glaze. We just have it cooling to the side. The recipe specifically says to get this to room temperature, so that's what we're doing. Now it's time to move on. We're going to boil some potatoes and roast an onion. So I have 4 of these red potatoes here. The recipe calls for 2 pounds of red potatoes. So that's what I'm doing. I am going to go ahead and just roughly chop these. These are going to be turned into our mashed potatoes. So I don't think it necessarily matters if they're full or not. Maybe it does. Maybe I'm doing this wrong, but I don't make mashed potatoes, so maybe I should Google that real quick. Well, we've committed. This is when I'm like, that was so obvious to look up to double check that I know how to do, and I have no idea. But I feel like it's okay to cut the mashed potatoes, or to cut the potatoes before you put them in there to cook. It also doesn't say to skin them, so I'm not doing that. And here's our potatoes. I'm going to put these on a back burner, and I'm just going to get the water started for these. Now it's time for our onion. So the recipe calls for 2 medium onions, roughly chopped. This is a gigantic onion, so I'm just using 1 onion. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it down the middle. And just to make my life slightly easier, I'm going to go ahead and chop off the roots now. What we're doing with this potato is we're going to put it in the oven, and then we are going to, I guess I'm going to cut off the top too. And then we're going to actually blend it with some olive oil, and that is going to go into our mashed potato mixture. So I don't think it matters how well our onion is chopped. We just need it to get soft in the oven. So I'm done with the cutting board for now. We have our onion out. I'm going to go ahead and toss the onions with olive oil real quick. The recipe does not say to do this. It just says toss the onions with olive oil. So we're not going to salt and pepper, even though I really want to, but I'm going to try to be better at following the recipe. Okay. Those are nice and tossed. And we're going to bake these. I've got the oven at 400. The recipe doesn't specify. It just says bake for 15 minutes until soft. 400 will get us there for 15 minutes. And then once these are out, I'm literally just going to go ahead, put them in the blender, and puree them. I don't think you need to see that part. So we'll come back when all this is finished. Okay, so our potatoes are done boiling. We have our pureed onions. We've got a little over 2/3 cup of milk because that's how much milk I had left. And now we're going to make these mashed potatoes. We need butter. I have it prepared to the side. I just kind of forgot about it. Okay, in with our potatoes. We've got butter. We have our onion puree. Yum, 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 yum. And we've got some warm milk. I'm not going to do all of the milk just because I did have extra. And we're just going to get to mashing. And I'm a little worried about overdoing it. Maybe I should have gotten a bigger bowl. Okay, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. I can feel the potatoes being mashed. I'm just not doing a great job. I should have gotten a bigger bowl. These are also currently very watery potatoes. But we're getting there. We'll get there. I'm going to finish mashing these, and then we'll season these with salt and pepper as well. We've added quite a bit of salt and pepper to these, but they're actually quite good, and I don't like mashed potatoes a lot normally, so I'm pretty happy with these. I'm going to go ahead and set these to the side. I'm going to take the asparagus I have in the oven out of the oven, and then we'll get back with the salmon. Here we are with our salmon fillets. Now, the recipe does call for 4 7-ounce salmon fillets. These are about 6 ounces. I just bought them from the grocery store. And this is by far the most expensive part of the meal. But hey, I think it's going to be delicious no matter what. So we're going to go ahead and start, and we're just going to baste these with a little bit of olive oil. And I am going to get a spoon so that I don't have to get my hands dirty just yet. And I'm just kind of going to brush on the olive oil. There we go. Leave that here with our roast fish. Now we are going to go ahead and season with salt and pepper. Now I imagine that it wants you to kind of like maybe rub in the salt and the pepper. It doesn't say to do this like one side and then the other. But what I'm doing is we have our pan over here ready to go. We're searing these fillets and then popping them in the oven at 350. So I'm going to put this side down, baste the other side with the olive oil, salt and pepper, and then place it on the cooking sheet. So I'm just waiting for my pan to get a little hotter, but we're going to go for it. It's not hot enough. We'll bump it up. That's okay. And we're just going to plop these guys on, and since our hands are already gross, okay, that didn't really work. I'm going to wash my hands. We've got a nice sizzle. I'm going to go ahead and just lightly oil. Take my spoon, kind of do this, because we're not cooking these, we're just searing them, and then we're going to take some pepper. Okay, and then we're going to take some salt. Perfect. I'm going to clean up this. I think it's about time to flip. There we go. Not perfect, but I can't say that I do this often, so I'm not mad. We're just trying our best. Whoop. Nope. Whoops. This one does not want to go. There we go. Flip. Okay, and then we'll sear these guys for like a minute or so. I've got my sheet kind of prepared. I'm going to go ahead and spray it with a little bit of Pam. Just because I'm not cooking on the sheet, because I didn't want to get another dish dirty. I think we're going to turn off our pan, because these obviously aren't supposed to be cooked. We're just searing them. But, you know, sear has a color. They don't look bad. Maybe we flip one and see if we have a better color on it. Not really. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and call it here, because I really don't want to overcook these. So here's one on the sheet. Come on. Just... Somehow this is the really hard part. Come on. 2. And this is our last one. Perfect. Okay. So here's our little salmon fillets. Oh, good. They're still in camera, too. Look at us. We are so good at this. I'm going to get another spoon because apparently I just want to use spoon on spoon on spoon. So here's our maple glaze from earlier. You can see it's still a little watery, but it's definitely come together a lot more. I am going to set that on the counter and regret that later. And then what we do is we place the salmon fillets on the baking sheet and we drizzle with a tablespoon of the glaze. I'll probably do more than a tablespoon. Looks like we're probably about 2 tablespoons of the glaze. And then we're going to bake these for 12 to 15 minutes. I'm starting off at 12 because I do think it's really easy to overcook fish. and I want these to be nice and moist. So I'm going to start off with 12, especially because these are just 6 ounces and not 7. And I think, on average, they'll cook faster. But here's our salmon fillets. So we'll get this in the oven, 350 for 12 minutes, like I've said 18 times now. But I'll see you guys when these are done and ready to be plated. Okay, so here's what our salmon looks like after like 13 minutes in the oven. It smells good. It looks like salmon. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and plate it, and now it's time for the final reveal. Okay, I'm sweating. I'm so hot. My kitchen has gotten so hot. But we're finished, and I'm really excited. I tried plating this well. Who knows? This is my attempt at this, but isn't she pretty? She's sliding a little bit, but yeah, so we've got our mashed potatoes on there. We have the maple glaze. The recipe said to garnish with some red peppers. I don't know exactly what kind of red peppers they meant, so I just did some bell peppers. This is my asparagus. I'm not judging this on the asparagus. I just knew that this would go well with asparagus. But I'm going to go ahead and try a piece of salmon with some mashed potato. So here's my bite. Maybe get a pepper on there, maybe. There we go. There's our bite. I would be happy if I got them. That's pretty good. Oh, we also went ahead and it said to pair it with this Hartford Court Pinot Noir. So this is what I got. I don't really drink red wines, so I'm not counting it on the pairing, but I thought it could be a fun thing to try the pairings when they're suggested. So this is my glass. I went ahead and I put it in the Epcot mug that you can kind of only sort of see. It felt appropriate. And then we'll take a bite of potato. Okay, I gotta say, that pairing works pretty well. I don't really even like red wine, and I like that. Like, I will finish that glass. Full disclosure, I'll probably cook with the rest of the wine, but don't judge me. Anyways, let's get into the dish. I'm so hot, I'm losing it. I liked this one a lot. It was super easy to come together. The ingredients were really easy to find. The salmon was expensive, and the brandy I had to buy special. So, based off of those two things, this is not a perfect dish. I think overall, it's maybe like a really solid 8.5. Just kind of based on price and the like special ingredients. But this is this is really good. I'm excited to have this for dinner, and I'm excited that I have leftovers, which doesn't always happen. Most of the time I'm happy I have leftovers, but this one I like a lot. Now, I will say one thing about the cookbooks that I'm making my way through with this is, they are Disney dishes, but that doesn't mean that they're still around. So I don't even know if this is at the artist table or artist palette restaurant anymore, but that doesn't matter. This was so good. I would highly recommend you make this one if you like salmon. Like I said, super easy. You don't even have to make the mashed potatoes, just make the salmon part. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.